All right, we'll call the executive committee meeting to order.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion on the agenda? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Carries. How about our minutes of our July 13th meeting?
Motion to approve.
Discussion on the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Carries. Any public comments? We're aware of? No. Right. Are there any supervisors present, not seated as committee members, that have any information for this committee?
Up there.
Oh, come on.
I was ready, Rush. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Brad Olson, Frederick Supervisor, District 1 for Polk County. There's been a lot of talk in this committee on ethics, so I just thought I would bring it to you. Not really sure how much this committee or the county knows about it, but those of us in environmental services know quite a bit about it. In June of 2022, the Environmental Services Committee held a conditional use permit hearing on a controversial issue in our county. Prior to the CUP hearing, a sitting Polk County supervisor opposed to the application reached out to a quorum of the Environmental Services Committee in an effort to lobby committee members. While this effort to influence committee members failed to contact or failed to work with a quorum of the committee. Well, this effort to influence committee members failed. It is at a minimum a violation of a walking quorum. The actions of this sitting supervisor have put the Environmental Services Committee at the county in jeopardy of legal action in the past as well as in the future, as the CUP application decision has yet to be finalized. The interference in this CUP application has already led the Environmental Services Committee to being sued by the applicant. While the county was successful in the aforementioned legal action, this issue may be far from over. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee.
All right, any other supervisors have any information for this committee? If not, we'll move on to an update regarding the recruiting process.
Okay, if you want to pass these down, this is just as an update. Today we will be posting internally the county administrator's position. That is the updated, we've just updated the job description. Please don't read the details and say, well, he hasn't done any of this. But it is that the plan is to post it internally, and then in about 2 weeks, once you have a chance to see what's been generated from the internal standpoint, we will post it externally. We've got a variety of sites and places to do that. And I think that will give us plenty of time to start going through those. Malia will be leading the search because she has expressed no interest in the position. And so she's going to be coordinating the resumes that come in, do some initial screening. We'll present those to you. And then your decision will be, how do you want to proceed with the qualified candidates? Do you want to do one-on-one interviews? Do you want to bring them in front of the committee? Do you want them in a social setting? You know, those are things you can think about. But I think, you know, the hope is that we've got some internal candidates who will have interest. And then we can, once we have those, we can also compare that with the external market.
So we would look at all of them together, is what you're saying.
Pardon?
The internal and the external.
Yeah, and the thought being is that if, you know, this committee had expressed it'd be nice, we got some qualified, you know, very good people. Let's look at the internal candidates, you know, just to see if we have something that we can, you know, move up. So we get those in first, and then we can, after a short time, move it to an external search, and then you can. So I would as we get those, I'm thinking next month I should be able to provide you with an overview of the number of candidates, possibly saying here are the ones who are qualified, here are the ones who are not, and then we can start interviewing then. And so my question might be is, at least we need to start thinking about how would you like to interview candidates?
How have we done it in the past? Is it the full
Well,
committee or a small group?
I can tell you from my experience, I believe it was, I had interviews with various groups of supervisors. And I think they had the whole board, didn't they? Where I had like 4 or 5 supervisors in a room and I'd go to the next room that way.
Yeah, extension, I think, set that up.
So you do the whole board, or you can do, you know, this committee could do some interviewing and weed them down a little bit, or make the decision and make the recommendation. I know before me, there was an event where you had like 3 or 4 candidates that you liked. And not only did you interview them, but then you had them at a social setting where everybody came and met. The challenge with that is keeping everybody on the same page in terms of what you can ask, what you can't ask, and so on.
Should we maybe see if the full board like wants this committee to do that? To go through candidates? I mean, why could we weed someone out that someone else on the board may consider their best choice?
That's certainly an option.
I mean, if the full board wants to appoint the executive committee to do it, we'll do it. But if they don't, if they want to take a different course, I think we should ask.
Yeah, because they may want to have we might want to have a hiring committee made up of people who volunteer off the full board.
I just don't think we should take it.
I mean, as an executive committee.
Well, as a committee, even, I don't think we should. I mean, what if environmental services just said they'll take it?
Oh, I
And now someone else said, why do they get it?
Yeah, why can't
I just think we should run it by the board and ask them if their recommendation is for us to maybe bring them 3 candidates. And then we'll.
That's what I think.
Yes,
2 or whatever they want.
right. Good idea.
So is that gonna, it's not gonna affect your timeline to get it posted? If you can get it on county board as a discussion and committee of the whole.
Are you suggesting that we postpone it for a little while to see what kind of response we get?
No, I
You want to
think
do it next month or this month?
Tuesday, ask the board, do they want the executive committee to go through candidates and bring them 3?
Okay.
And if the
How do we go?
tone is no, they don't want that, like they don't want the executive committee to have that.
That's presented on Tuesday's county board meeting. Get it resolved and move from there.
I don't think so.
That way a committee is dealing with every aspect of the hiring process. It seems logical they keep abreast of what's going on. Numbers, things like that.
How much of the job description got changed or not a lot?
Not a lot, just changing of terminology.
Some of that, okay.
Of the divisional structure is pretty much the
So
same.
it fits in better, worse, whatever.
Yeah,
okay.
just kind of tweaked it. The lawyers did most of the tweaking. Just,
Oh, yeah.
well, this is a little bit different now. Changed a few words or sentences. That's about
Well,
it.
it serves as an ex officio member of the standing committee. Yeah, so that's good. Or if you get the vote too, then.
Now, Joe, help me. I know the clerk's back here, but I like the idea of doing this as quickly as possible in terms of getting buy-in from the board. Can I do that in my administrator's report discuss it then, or do I need to amend the agenda?
I would probably amend the agenda because you're asking the board to take some kind of action in directing where the assessment should get done.
And you want that under a committee of the whole?
It should be under discussion under a committee of a whole. It's going to allow people more informally to discuss what options are and what they want.
But we should probably go prepared too to have, like it would be maybe our recommendation that this committee does the initial screenings and gets it down to 3 candidates. So
We have special meetings for the whole board, yeah, or something too. Then
I think, and the reason obviously is you have somebody from each committee here.
no,
If you turned it over to another committee, HHS may say, we like Tanya, and environmental services may say, we like, you know, and this way you have one representative, you get to some consensus on some top candidates and then take it to the board.
no.
And then they can, you know, then the question would be, do you want the board to be involved in actual interviews? Or do you want them to just vote? Yeah, you'd have to have some type of interviewing process between.
Well, if we could get it, if the full board wants this committee to get it to 3 candidates for them, I mean, then we could do another meeting where everybody got to be part of interviewing those 3 and then pick one.
If we have, I mean, or what if this committee says, well, we really like these top 2 candidates, so it may only be 2.
Might only get one to apply.
Yeah.
Right.
And he or she may come kicking and screaming. Who knows?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I just think we need to get the full board a little more involved and have a little more say in who gets to start the process.
I agree.
Good idea.
Yeah. That's good for the administrator, whoever gets hired for later, because it might help with buy-in of that person if everyone feels empowered to have had their input. Helps that person ease into their job better.
Okay.
All right, anything else on the recruiting process?
So we think that's the recommendation then of this committee. Just narrow it down and present. We'll offer this to the board on Tuesday night.
Right.
And you'll present it to the.
Yeah, I mean, we could maybe just say a minimum of 2 candidates. Would be 3 that.
Yeah. Okay. Or maximum of 3.
is there any standard procedure that HR has for any other one? This is different.
This is a unique one because this is truly your decision. It's the board's decision. And so it's, because we have internal candidates that we think may be interested, even HR, you know, they'll send out the information and get the process going, but then they won't be involved in screening because they might be hiring their own boss. So that's why we turn it over to Malia, Joe, myself, and you guys.
Or we could hire that recruiting firm again. Try that.
Yeah.
No?
They were so good.
All right, so we'll just have the discussion Tuesday and see if that's what the full board wants. If it is, then I don't know, I guess we go to work.
Yeah, I think we'll get some candidates and I'll keep in touch. You all.
All right. We got a discussion regarding fair board negotiations. Is there any part of that we can do in open session? If we want to go into closed. I think we've had a fair bit of discussion on this already. I don't know that we need more.
I don't have anything that I want to discuss in open session. So unless someone else has something else, I would suggest we go into closed.
All right, somebody get us there under what, 19.851 E and G.
Motion to go in closed session pertinent to Wisconsin State Statute 19.851 E and G.
I'll second.
All right, you know, roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Be in closed session. Who will be in?
Walk out there.
All right, we're back in open session. We still need to identify subject matters for our next meeting.
Well, we got one.
I would say
Results of
the-
this meeting, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure the discussion regarding fair board negotiations would be on. Is there any other? I mean, probably we'll know by then the recruiting process and what the board, how they want to handle that process.
Would the fair thing be discussion and action? Possible action.
The fair,
So we had action to forward something if we had it.
you're saying, so the agenda would say discussion and possible action.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All
I
right.
think, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but since we had a formal complaint regarding ethics that this body has the ethics committee, do we need to discuss that or consider it?
So I don't remember exactly what the process is in your rules. I know that the ethics rules just got passed. What I would suggest is if a formal ethics complaint is going to get submitted to my office, which it sounds like it is, then this committee should put it on their agenda for your next meeting to address it, probably have a closed session on there as well.
Sounds like we might have to have that as just a standing agenda item.
Yeah.
But you gotta have that A, B, C, D, E, G, which one it is.
All right.
So you gotta be careful, yeah.
Anything else? If anyone has any subject matters they'd like to get on the agenda,
Do we get,
someone know and we'll try to get them on.
can we get updates on pending litigation lawsuits or something?
We,
You know, we got the realtor one, we got a few other ones. Can we do it in this committee too, just to have it, so each committee chair knows what's happening?
I think that we might, yeah, be in a closed session. We could
Yeah,
do
it
that.
would
And
be a
it's either
closed
Joe or
session.
Malia will be here.
An update on, does that make sense, Joe? That would be a closed too, when any updates on legal lawsuits, but then each committee head would have it, so each committee would kind of get to know what's happening. Or we do it at the full board, I guess, do it either way.
I think in the past, I know I gave one to the full board
To the full,
probably 2 years ago.
yeah.
But
So do we want to do it here or should we have it on the full board?
Do you want to do it here?
I just, so everybody knows.
Well, if you
Maybe it's
do-
better at the full board.
can certainly do both. I think
Yeah.
we can.
And it doesn't have to be a lengthy thing either.
Just an update.
Okay.
You know, is it Judge Flack, so it's 3 years long or whatever,
Board
things
agenda,
like that.
already amending it. Do you want to?
All right, so that
That might,
could be a possible subject matter,
I don't know what it usually is.
yeah, or it could go on the full board so that everybody knows at
possible
once.
subject matter for our next meeting.
So you're talking, Kim, about adding,
Updates on
right,
legal.
but if you want legal, it is not currently on the current county board supervisors meeting. If we're already amending it with the committee of the whole, is that?
No, we're not talking about the county board. We're talking about
I
our
know, but
next
he had
meeting.
mentioned doing it also at county board.
Well, if that's not on the agenda, I guess that'd be Jay's.
Jay would add that if there's any that pop up that have to be.
We,
That way the whole, everybody knows, because
Do it at the county board.
I think so.
I don't think it's necessary at this county board to change that part of the agenda because we do have an agenda item on the Stour Trail. We're gonna cover that.
Yeah,
I don't
so
think
that's
we can-
one of them,
Yeah.
but, okay. But we should put it on the county board, because if there's, we get the
Whenever there
realtor
is
one,
a-
some of these, then all the members know where it's at.
Might as well.
Don't you think?
Sure.
All right, any other subject matters for our next meeting? If not, we got one item to go.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And adjourned at 11:01.
Clock.
1 or 2 or whatever it is.